a decision by Ty Chandler, which is a good decision.
Remember this? Remember week 1 on Monday Night Football when Ben Johnson, for some reason, decided to have Cairo Santos, the weakest kicker in football, not kick the ball out of bounds or short of the landing zone, thereby allowing the Vikings to return it, take it past the 2-minute warning, and end the game right then and there? Well, I thought for sure after that nationally televised debacle that no one, not one single soul, would repeat what this man did right here. I thought there was no way that it could be done a second time. The situation was so obvious the first time, let alone when there's a prior example that everyone saw and that everyone talked about. And sure enough,
Fairbairn does boot it in the end zone. Running it out, Solani.
You're kidding me. Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Again. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Houston Texans head coach, D'Amico Ryans. This whole game was a catastrophe. This whole game made me want to lose whatever brain cells I had left. If you are just waking up today and looking at the box score of the game, you might think that you missed something good. Oh no, I promise you, you did not. In fact, I kind of envy you, because what you missed was one of the worst displays of football, where honest to God, I could make about 20 episodes of dumb decisions. The Seahawks, up by 15 points in the fourth quarter, thought they were down 17, and just decided to throw the ball on every play. The Seahawks, needing a field goal to go 3 scores and moving the ball well down the field, decided to try a wide receiver pass with Cooper Kupp, because that's worked so well before. The Seahawks, instead of going for it on 4th and 1 past the 50, or trying to draw the Texans offside with a hard count, decided to try and fool the Texans by lining up in a swinging gate formation, Colts-Patriots 2015 style, which, shocker, didn't work. The Texans, instead of utilizing this thing called the quarterback sneak, decided to run 2 goal line passes, which, shocker, didn't work. The Texans at one point went for it on 4th down and got stuffed using the exact same play that got stuffed on 3rd down. I legit cannot even begin to describe the atrocity I watched. It was quite possibly the worst coached game of football and worst played game of football I've ever seen in my life when it comes to the final quarter. And that is saying a lot, because I've watched a lot of football and a lot of crap football at that. This fourth quarter was an experience in a lot of ways. But then we got the big kahuna. Then we got the cherry on top of the suckiest game to ever suck. Because D'Amico Ryans just completely botched this sequence. There was no other way to say it. D'Amico Ryans decided to do the dumbest thing imaginable, and it cost the Texans the game. So with that being said, let's take a look at why kicking the ball into the landing zone with 2:04 left and having 1 timeout left is a really bad idea. Because if I had a nickel for every time this happened on Monday Night Football this season, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. But before I do that, I should note that I stream all the primetime games on this channel. So I was live for this atrocity. I was live when D'Amico Ryans decided to have his kicker kick the ball into the landing zone. And by this point, having watched one of the worst played and worst executed games of football, I was ready to crash out. Take a look at my real-time reaction, just so that you know this wasn't a case of hindsight bias or exploiting a loophole way after the fact. Like thinking of the perfect thing to say in the shower in a conversation that happened yesterday. Take a gander at this.
Okay, now, if you're not going to onside kick, this is the Bears-Vikings game, I swear to God. You don't need to onside kick. You actually don't need to onside kick. I'm not sure I onside kick it here. With the way our defense is playing, I'm not sure I onside kick. But you do what Ben Johnson didn't do. Out of bounds, out of the back of the end zone. That's what you do. You do not kick it in the landing zone. I swear to God, if you kick it in the landing zone, I will lose brain cells. You go onside, that's one thing. I would kick it deep, but you kick it out of bounds or in the landing zone. We saw this week 1. The Vikings, Bears, Ben Johnson. It was a huge mistake by the Bears on Monday Night Football. Will history repeat itself here? We're about to find out. Again, you do not... Okay, they're kicking deep. I swear to God. Out of the back of the end zone or out of bounds. Just kick it out of bounds or short of the landing zone. Just kick it short of the landing zone. That's all you have to do. You don't have to get to the 20. Just tap the ball. Literally just a love tap. Like I do with the water bottle. Just boop. Tap it. Just tap it. Do not kick in the landing zone here. They got the 3 now. How much time? About 110. Do not kick it in the landing zone. They will kick it off in the end zone. And... what do we even say at this point? What do we even say? What do I even say at this point? I am losing brain cells! The Seahawks just won the game. Unless they throw the ball 5 times like they've done before. How do they do that again? It is so obvious what you do in that spot. How does this keep happening? How does this keep happening?
All right, so with 2:04 left in the game and 1 timeout, you have 3 options. Option 1, try the onside kick. It's a super low percentage play, but it at least gives you the chance of getting the ball back without having to rely on your defense to make a stop. However, the Seahawks get the ball near field goal range, and 1 field goal makes it a 2-score game, ending any chance you have at winning the game. Furthermore, even if you do get a stop, your anemic offense is going to have to drive roughly 90 yards down the field in order to tie it with limited time and no timeouts available at their disposal. It's a super high-risk, high-reward play, but I'm not faulting the Texans for not trying it, especially with how their defense has played all day, and especially in this 4th quarter. So if we're eliminating that option, you've got option 2, which is to have the kickoff not be in the landing zone, and option 3, which is to have the kickoff be in the landing zone. And we're going to do some simple math on this. With 2:04 left, you only have 4 seconds before the 2-minute warning hits. The 2-minute warning serves as a timeout. It serves as a chance to stop the clock. It's an extra lifeline. If you can kick the ball off and force the Seahawks to run a play before the 2-minute warning, you save so much time. How much time exactly? Well, let's say you kick the ball out of the landing zone, so you kick it out of bounds, or kick it off short. You need to get a stop either way. If you don't get a stop, you lose. So we're just going to assume that you get a stop. If we assume each play takes 5 seconds, the Seahawks call their first play at 2:04. It goes down to 1:59, and the 2-minute warning stops the clock. On 2nd down, the Seahawks run it down to 1:54, and the Texans burn a timeout. On 3rd down, the Seahawks run it down to 1:49 and then punt it away with 1:09. So if you're this Vim right here, D'Amico Ryans, you're getting it back with over a minute left. But now, if you eliminate the 2-minute warning because they kick it off deep and the Seahawks have a chance to return it, if the return takes 6 seconds, the Seahawks have it with 1:58 left. The game is basically over at this point. Congratulations, Texans. You played yourself. You have no chance to win. The Seahawks run it on first down. It goes to 1:53, and the Texans burn their final timeout. On second down, the Seahawks run it. It goes to 1:48. Then the 40-second play clock takes it to 1:08. On third down, the Seahawks run it. It goes to 1:03. Then the 40-second play clock takes it to 23 seconds. And now you're getting it back with time for maybe 1 or 2 plays for scrimmage to go 70 to 80 yards. You did the one thing you couldn't do. Literally, you did the one thing you couldn't do. Kicking it into the landing zone is such a nonsensical decision, especially considering what we saw transpire in Week 1 during the Bears-Vikings game. Time is your friend at this point. You can get an extra timeout if you make sure the time works in your favor. You have an easy way that is completely within your control in order to get that extra timeout. And yet, you decide not to use it and utilize it. The yardage difference from the other team getting it at the 40 means nothing. If an average return gets to the 30, let's say, the 10 yards are not as important as the near minute you just lost. Because not only do you lose 40 seconds from the lack of an extra timeout, because you didn't use the 2-minute warning to your advantage, and you just acted as if it was something that was there with no rhyme or reason or purpose to fill, but you lose the 6 or 7 seconds that a kickoff return takes. Kick it out of bounds or short of the landing zone, and you have more time. Kick it in the landing zone, and you have less time. Do you want more time or less time when you're trailing by 8 points and don't have the ball? If you want less time, congratulations. You're an idiot. And apparently, you're qualified to be the head coach of the Houston Texans based on how this game went. And someone asked DeMeco Ryans about it afterwards and asked him why he didn't just kick it out of bounds or short of the landing zone. And this is what Ryans had to say.
What was the plan going into there? Because obviously they ran it out and were able to kind of run a 2-minute warning.
Yeah, the plan at the end of the game was kicking the ball out of bounds so we could utilize the 2-minute and had a timeout. And we did not execute that again, just goes to the entire game. So, frustrating that we're not executing the things that we're coached to do.
Now, I know you might be saying, come on, aren't you being a little too hard on Ryans? He said he wanted to kick it out of bounds, and the player didn't execute. You can't blame the coach for that. And that is true. If something is a player error and not a coaching error, it's not a dumb decision. I have gone on the record many times and have said that. If a coach tells his quarterback to hand the ball off, and then the quarterback calls an audible and throws it, I'm not going to yell at the coach for calling that play, because clearly he didn't call it. So this seems like an overreaction on my part. And it feels like DeMeco Ryans should be off the hook. He's absolved of all the blame here, right? Bull. Complete and utter bull. Bulls on parade. There is no way that Ryans knew the situation here. He is talking out of his butt. I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar that Ryans only realized after the game that this was the correct move. Because here's the thing. How hard is it to kick a football out of bounds? If that was truly the strategy from the start, why would you not have your kicker line up at a 90-degree angle or a 45-degree angle? If I'm teeing off in golf and I have a very straight drive that doesn't hook or slice or anything like that, and I cannot go down the middle on this stride because it's a dog leg and there's a huge water trap right down the middle, you know where I'm not going to line my body up? That's right, directly down the middle. On top of that, if the kick misses short of the landing zone, the ball gets placed at the 40. So how hard is it to tell your kicker to just tap the ball? He didn't even have to kick it out of bounds. Just give it a tap, touch the ball, and the Seahawks have the ball at the 40 with no time coming off the clock. Point is, there was no way that you wanted to kick the ball out of bounds or short of the landing zone and were unable to do it. It's like if you're taking a test and you want to get a 0 for some reason. And if you submit a blank test, it counts as a 0. Yet you decide that you want to answer one question and you get it right. And now you're screwed. I don't know why you'd want a 0, but you get the idea. You had the easiest way to do it by just not doing anything, and you decided to do something instead. So even if Ryan said he wanted to kick it out of bounds, I'm not buying it for a second. And I'm not buying his excuse and his pathetic attempt to throw his player under the bus. If you truly wanted to kick it out of bounds, it is not hard. If you truly wanted to kick it short of the landing zone, it is not hard. You had no idea about this rule and only discovered afterwards that this was a bad idea. And that's why you're on this segment and your team is an undisciplined mess at 2-4. I'll repeat what I said in the Bears-Vikings episode of Dumb Decisions from week 1, because it's the exact same thing to a T. Same thing, just different colors and names on the uniforms. This insane decision just costs you the game. If you kick it off deep, you get the worst of both worlds, because you can't recover the ball and the Seahawks win the game. If you onside kick it, at least you have a chance of recovering. If you kick it regularly but out of bounds or short of the landing zone, at least you can get the ball back with time on the clock. But by doing this, you can't do either. You can't recover, and you'll have no time left to move the ball down the field. It's like you've never looked at a clock before in your life and realized how one works. Because if you did, you never would have made this asinine decision in the first place. I mean, you said you looked at a clock and realized how this works, but again, I don't believe you for a nanosecond. I don't think anyone else is buying what you're selling. DeMeco Ryans is seemingly getting worse and worse as a head coach as time goes on. And this game was the epitome of that, at a Texans team and a coaching staff that should be a lot better than they are right now. So what did we learn from all of this? If you don't have all your timeouts, and it's right before the 2-minute warning, and you want to kick it deep and not do an onside kick, then kick it off short or kick it so far out of bounds that it winds up in the next state over. If you kick it in the landing zone, you're a moron. If you even so much as keep it close to the landing zone and keep it within the realm of possibility, to the point where I can't tell what's going to happen the moment the ball leaves the tee, then you're a moron. I don't know how this keeps happening, and these teams and these coaches continually botch this specific situation, but it does. And with every Groundhog Day moment, it makes me lose more and more brain cells with the passage of time. So thanks for that, Coach Ryans. Thanks for making me dumber. Thanks for making me watch this atrocity of a game and ending it with one of the worst decisions of the season. My God, this game sucked. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Check out our live streaming schedule for the next few days. We're live every single day on this channel, whether we're covering a sporting event or playing GeoGuessr or just taking your requests. So make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single time that we go live and so that you can join this community. Also, thanks to all our members and our Patreon supporters who get exclusive perks like their name at the end of each video, members-only Q&A streams, and cool emojis to use on videos and during streams. See how you can join this community and become a member or a Patreon member by clicking the link in the description below.